Hello tubers, today's an epic day. Well, it is for me anyway. For you lot, it's probably just another Sunday. But those of you that have been following me will know that for the last 2 months, last 2 months, I've been working on a specific model. And that epic journey has come to an end, for me anyway. The Harrier is finally finished. It is but an epic day. After all this time and all this effort, head scratching and kind of like being annoyed, and quite a few times, the Harrier is finally finished, like I said. And today's video, don't all get excited and think, great, you're going to see it fly. No, you're not. You're not. Today's video is just me going through everything with you, what is on it, what powers it, who made it, who designed it, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a prequel to before the flying, shall we say. So let's dive in and have a look. Here we are. Here it is. All finito, all put together. Now I have still got stuff to do. Although this is how it is going to look when it's flying. I need to shed some more weight off it because I don't know, it's just too heavy for me. I tried running it up earlier on this morning with 2 batteries. Admittedly, one of them was a bigger, more heavier battery than what it needed, and it was trying to get off the deck. But I think the batteries that I were using, I mean, they're quite old batteries. They were dumping. I was getting to sort of like 2/3 throttle, and you could hear there was no more in the batteries. They were dumping. So I'm waiting for 2 new batteries. The one that is going to go in the nose into here. The one that's going to go in there is a 3S 4500 milliamp, and yes, it is going to go in there. It will fit because that's what they built this thing around. That was what the battery was that they used, the guys who designed this. But it is only 205 grams, that battery. The one that I've been using, and it's a 3S by the way, the one that I've been using is a, hang on a second, let me just show you, is that pile of poop. Now that is a zippy 3700 milliamp, and as you can see, it's too big. It's a 4S 3700 milliamp, and it's supposed to be a 3S 4000 that fits in there. So I was using a heavier battery for a start off. Because I was using the heavier battery, it meant that it was nose heavy. Because it was nose heavy, this motor here was screaming like buggery, trying to get it off the deck. Yeah, so when that comes, that's going to save me about 150 grams in weight. Excuse me. The all-up weight of it at the moment, as it is without any batteries in it, is 2.6 kilos, 2,635 grams. She's a little bit heavy, so I'm going to be shedding weight off it as much as I can. It may mean me sacrificing bits and bobs, who knows. If you watched the previous video that I uploaded yesterday, you'll know that fan went kiss ass goodbye. And I did say that I was going to get another one. I have actually ordered it, and it's going to be delivered today. Whether or not it'll be done before I get this video finished, I highly doubt it. I mean, it is quite late as it is. Is that a jet? It's just an airliner. It is quite late as it is, like I say. We're talking about 3:30 in the afternoon here. It is absolutely tipping it down with rain. It is blowing an absolute hoolie. Anybody think we lived in Iceland, not the UK? But yeah, the weather's crap over here at the moment, so even if it was ready to go, I wouldn't be able to fly because it's too bloody windy, and it's meant to be like it all week. So, and then anyway, in there, that is where the 6S is going to go, and I am looking at probably a HRB 6S 4000. They're pretty good batteries, to be honest with you, and they produce some good quality punch, and they don't sag. Being a helicopter pilot, although I've not actually got any in my helicopters, because the helicopters that I've got 5,200 milliamp batteries, but there are guys here that do use HRBs and not only EDFs but helicopters, and they're still going strong. So that's what I'm looking for the main power for the boobler, as I call it. The front fan, that is a QX 50mm 5000 kV EDF, and they're available in various places around the world. I got mine off Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description below as well for this stuff. And then over here, that is a covered in paint where I sprayed it. That is a QX 30mm 7000 kV EDF, and that rotates counterclockwise. Okay, the 50mm, they rotate clockwise. The two outer fans rotate anti-clockwise, and obviously that one that rotates clockwise. And when it comes to the configuration of the KK2 board, in the cross position, if you let me just move her, if you imagine that beat that heavy, if you look at the Harrier from that view, that fan there is number 1, that is number 2, that is number 3, and that is number 4. Number 1 has to rotate clockwise, number 2 anti-clockwise, number 3 clockwise, and number 4 anti-clockwise. That is the configuration that you would require if this was a quad, and because effectively it is a quad but with a hoofing grade 90mm fan to provide the rest of the power, they actually come in the configuration. This was worrying me because I thought they were all going to be like one direction. Mentioning no band, as I'm no band there because I'm not, but I thought they was all rotating like clockwise. But it was only when I came to look at actually doing the flight controller and it was showing the configuration, I noticed that they're actually rotating in the direction that they need to be. So that was a bonus. But you can get these in clockwise and anti-clockwise versions as well. So depending on your setup or whatever it is you want to do, like I say, you can get them in clockwise or anti-clockwise, or in fact I think the fan is reversible. Could be wrong, don't quote me on that. It could be reversible, who knows. Anywho, so don't that look good? It looks really good. Apart from the hoofing grate fan in the nose, which isn't scale obviously, if that fan weren't there, that would actually look really damn cool. So yeah, anyway, let's get the wing off and I'll show you what's going on inside. Now here we have the final configuration of the inside. This is basically as it stands, how it will be, and how it is once the wing is on underneath. This is how it is, okay. Oh, excuse me. We have basically changed the battery eliminator circuit, or BEC as we call it, for a lighter one that still produces 5 volts. That goes in to here. That's what that one is there. That's providing power to the flight controller. And then this one here, that goes up to number 1, up to the front. And then these two here for the wings. That's why they're disconnected, because I'm about to take the wing off to show you this. And then this one here in this heatsink is for this fan here, which goes into number 3. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anywho, the receiver that I'm using is a Spectrum AR10 100 telemetry receiver that's got 10 channels on, and as you can see I have used all 10 channels. And then right in the middle, the heart of it as we called it there, that is the old KK2 flight controller. It's quite an old design, it's not new, it's been around for a few years now, and although it's ancient, I suppose you could say, it still works and is still usable, and is relatively cheap, to be honest with you, as well. A bit of a nightmare to program if you don't know what you're doing, but I got there eventually. But in the videos I didn't show how I did that, because there's plenty of other videos out there from other people that have programmed these. Good luck trying to find one in English. But yeah, so, and then these wires here that you can see, which have been glued to stop them from moving about, they're green and red. Now I did ask if you knew the significance between why I did them green and why I did them red. Get to that in a second, but they're for the nozzles. Those are for the starboard nozzles, and these ones are for the port nozzles, and then those plugs are for the flaps, which are up here on the wing. As you can see, colour coded. We got green for green, and then blue for blue, which is that one there. Yeah, anyway, the significance of the red and green is because on real aircraft, red goes on the left hand side when it comes to the navigation lights, and green is on the right hand side, and that's why I did them red and green. Clever, isn't it? Nope. Anyway, so yeah, the servos that you can see here, I've got one there, one hiding underneath that lot, one hiding underneath that lot, and one you can't even tell there's one there. Excuse me. They drive these nozzles here. I have them on a slider on my transmitter, which is that one there, and basically when I pull that away, or away from the transmitter to the left, that drops the nozzles down, and in return it drops these down as well. So the flaps come down, so do the nozzles, and then when I pull the flaps up, the nozzles, they rotate to about that angle, which will give me forward thrust, but nothing too nuclear. I don't want to be going that fast with this model, because at the end of the day I've got no ailerons, I've got no rudder, and I've got no elevator for forward flight. This is purely just a hovering model, like I've stated a few times. So yeah, and then that little hatch there, if I can get it off, there we go, hiding inside there, I don't know if you can just see it, is the elevator servo, but it's not connected. The only reason I put it in there was to hold the tail plane in position. So because it's on a bearing, and now I can't get my hole, I can't get it in. Look, no, how hard is it? There we go. It's actually on a bearing because it's an all moving tail plane. So if I didn't have the servo in it, it'd be just all blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's why that's in there. These are loose at the moment, but before I fly them, I will be putting something up here to hold it in place. Nothing too strenuous, nothing too stupid, just something to hold it in place to stop it from moving about. It's the same with the ailerons on both sides. They're all flippy floppy. I should be putting something in between there just to stop them from moving, whether it be just tape or what, I don't know. Wheels for the retracts on the wings. Now, this is the question. Do I actually destroy the locks to reduce the weight? Because this thing relies on lightness. The lighter it is, the better it will be. The heavier it is, the more battery it is going to suck. I'm trying to get as much flight time as possible with this. Now, I know, bear with, excuse me, I know that this model has been flown, okay? It has been test flown. But the guy who test flew it in Germany, when he flew it, I will show you, it didn't have that, it didn't have that, it didn't have that, it didn't have this, and it didn't have the main at the back and the nose wheel at the front fitted. They were all nothing, they were gone, just nothing. It was just the wing. There was none of this, none of these here. They weren't on. It was literally just the fuselage, even the canopy. Oh yes, he did. He flew it with the canopy on, but it was literally just the fuselage with the electrics inside it, as you could see it, with no tailplane, no fin, and just the wing with no flaps or no retracts, nothing. So I'm thinking to myself, do I do the same? Because although it's not going to be looking so good when it comes into land, because they were just landing it on these skids, which is what it's sitting on here. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I want it to fly, I want it to hover, and I want it to move forward, and I want to get at least 3 minutes flying out of it. Now, EDF jets here in the UK, when it comes to our weather conditions and our atmosphere, we're not like you guys over in the States where you can fly for 50 miles, you know, nuclear speeds, and come back half an hour later and still have 30% left in your battery. Over here, we're lucky to get 2.5 minutes and, you know, land and have like 30% left in our battery. It's something to do with the atmosphere, with your air being thinner over there. Ours is a lot more thicker, a bit like us, to be fair. But anyway, I'm toying with doing that. I want this to fly. I want this to get off the ground. Excuse me. I want this to get off the deck. And if it means me stripping loads of stuff off it to get it off the ground, then that's what I'm going to do. I mean, these servos, I could take those off with these control links, and I could just tape the servo, well, not tape them, but just pull these flaps down to have them in the down position with the nozzles. I'm still going to obviously need the servos in there for the nozzles. I'm still going to have the nozzles moving, but the flaps are going to be down all the time. I can remove these retracts, get rid of them, okay? I need those servos because that's what provide the yaw. So with those gone, those servos there gone as well. And if I remove, like I say, the main retract and the front nose wheel retract, now I know that those two retracts alone weigh about 100 grams between them, okay? And with the 3D printed undercarriage that comes on this model, or that I put on this model as well, I reckon there's 150 grams that I can lose there. I reckon I could probably lose about another 200 grams easy, okay? Now the other thing, the electronic speed controller that I've got in here is a Gecko 150, but it's all fully enclosed. Now I know that the electronic speed controller that the guys used that they designed this, it was a controller without any wires or anything on. They built it themselves. It's literally just a circuit board with a big piece of heat shrink over the top of it to keep it cool. I mean, I could take the cover off and reduce a bit of weight there that way, but I want to get this plane in the air. It's finished now, and I've got to make that decision. Now, I tried flying it earlier with a 6S 3500 for the Schubler and a 4S 3700 in the nose for the other four fans. Oh, excuse me. That battery should only be a 3S 4500, and the one that they recommend is only 205 grams. The one that I got in that nose there is 263 grams, I think it was, something like that, okay? The one that I got in here was, yes, a smaller milliamp, because they recommend a 4000, or I think it's a 4500. It was a smaller milliamp, but it was still a 6S. it weighed in, I would say, around about 3.5 kilos, something like that, all up with everything on it as it is. And I took it outside there on the deck and I spooled it up, and I got up to 3/4 throttle, and I could hear that the batteries were lagging. The fans weren't running properly and the tubular was starting to sort of like drop. Every time I sort of like tried to increase the throttle, it'd surge up and then slow down again. The batteries that I was using are crap. Now, even with the power that I was putting in with that extra weight, or with that weight making it 3.5 kilos, I got my hand underneath the tail here, I tickled its little thingy, and I was lifting it up, and every time I tried to lift it up, you could see it was moving forward, it was hopping. So even at 3.5 kilos, it wanted to get off the ground. I reckon if I'd have picked it up and just let it go, it would have just sank to the ground slowly. So the more weight that I can lose, the better it's going to be. And if I've got proper batteries, new ones, that I can put in here, that aren't going to dump on me when I get to 3/4 throttle and give me constant thrust to that fan there, and I can get maximum thrust out of that fan there, it's going to go. It is definitely going to go. Anyway, that's the situation. That's where we are at. It is complete. I can't add nothing else to it. Everything is in. It is ready to effectively fly. The only downside is our British weather, for one, because like I say, it's gusting about 40 mile an hour, 35, 40 mile an hour up here at times, and it's peeing it down with rain. And the other thing is getting the new batteries. Once I get the new batteries, we'll be going for it. We'll be going for it, definitely. We have a gala day here in a couple of weeks' time, and I want to get this done and up in the air, flying for gala day. That's the target. That is the actual target. Is this the final chapter? Is this the end of this aircraft? Or we are going to see more of it? Who knows? Or are we going to see more of it? Who knows? Time will tell. Either way, I'm looking forward to seeing what the outcome of this is. I think I've made a decision that researching into this kind of model flying is something that I'm going to pursue. I'm going to be doing other projects that involve VTOL, and although there are designs out there, I am going to be tinkering with something of my own as well. But yeah, it's been enjoyable. It's been a pain in the butt as well doing this at times, but it pays off, you know. Yes, it's not flown yet. Yes, it will fly, depending on our weather, and like I say, the batteries as well. But you are going to see more of this. But as it stands for now, that's it for the Harrier, guys. I am back to work in a couple of days' time, so the content on my YouTube channel won't be as frequent, but I'm hoping to do one, maybe two a week still. But thank you for supporting me so far. Do like the video, do subscribe, share, all that kind of thing. It's good to hear from you guys when you comment as well about what I do. There's going to be a lot more to come in the future, not only on this but other subjects. I also fly helicopters, for those of you that have seen, and other aircraft besides that. I'll fly EDF jets, scale warbirds. There's loads to come. I've got so much to do. But once again, thanks for your support, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it has not been too boring. But yeah, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.